Hey, Reanimated fans, you're listening to Reanimated.
No, really? Are we?
This is Reanimated, the podcast about all things zombie. My name is Stuart Tiffin, and the dulcet tones of H.A. Conrad are joining me from the New York region.
Hello.
Greetings, and we're going to be talking about zombie news and the first two episodes of ZNation from the beautifully named SyFy channel.
Hmm.
And we're going to be doing all of that with the help of our good old pals down there at Squarespace, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to create your own website. They got drag and drop or drag and drops. They got built-in stores if you want to sell your hawk your goods, your wares, and they're a really good resource for the old podcast hosting, which is what we use them for. But check
Hmm.
it out; it's an easy way to make a website, and if you use our code ZOMBIE, not case sensitive, at checkout, you will get a 10% discount.
Everybody likes a discount.
Everybody.
I am drinking a lot of iced coffee this morning, Mr. Tiffin.
Yeah, I'm mainlining it warm right now, but yeah, not a great night. So I'm gonna try and keep the energy levels going. Keep the old furnace stoked with coal and the locomotive that is this podcast. So let's plow right ahead with some
Absolutely.
news. And the first news item that we've got this morning was a video that's kind of surfaced through the internets this week called "Shopping in a Zombie Apocalypse," which is a short posted on Vimeo. It appears to be half a commercial for Boost mobile networks, and I think it's English, and I kind of hated it.
I hated it as well.
I mean, just like the splash screen is pretty exploitative of butts and cricket
Y-
bats. I'm sure
Yeah.
you were appalled by their use of cricket bats.
I was appalled and I was like, no, they're not going to do that. No. Oh, they did that. It was very upsetting.
Like one of the taglines for this video is, "What if being in a zombie apocalypse was fun?" Which
I
right
know.
away you hate. You
No,
just
I think it was like a zombie apocalypse might actually be pretty fun or something like that. It's just like, ugh.
yeah. So it's two chicks going into a supermarket. One of them just dances on the register. She appears to be completely unarmed. The other, and they're both dressed inappropriately.
Yeah.
I sound like a grandpa or something.
You're
But
like you're totally in the get off my lawn point of
yeah,
your life, aren't you?
damn
Get off
kids.
my lawn.
But they're not wearing enough. Like there's way too much exposed flesh. Um,
No, absolutely. And I don't know that roller skates is the best way to go. Just saying.
well, I guess it depends how skilled you are. This chick does not actually look super comfortable on roller skates, to be honest. As she goes through the aisles, hitting really dumb zombies with a cricket bat. I'll let our listeners go out and find this themselves if they want to. You can just go to Vimeo and look for "Shopping in a Zombie Apocalypse" and proceed to be disappointed with.
Well, you know what? I think some people might actually like the leather hot pants and the knee high socks and the roller skates. I mean, you have to admit, Stuart, I don't know that this is a video that was made for you and me. I think this was made for somebody else.
like people who want their zombocalypse to be sexier,
Sexy. Yeah. Yeah.
less gritty. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point. Um, Realism can take the back seat for this kind of thing occasionally.
Yeah, seriously, the anger that I felt while watching this, I was like, really? No. So anyway,
Yeah.
that's all I'll say about that. No.
Moving on. What we got? We got some musicals.
Oh, is that what you were gonna say? Speaking of realism, let's talk about a zombie musical.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so
Although,
who are these guys? This duo who's bringing a zombie Broadway to film.
well, Dave Stewart, who is the co-creator and record producer, you might know him from the Eurythmics. Um, he has moved forward with Zombie Broadway, and this was based upon he had a graphic novel, and I think it was in 2008 that this came out. And so basically, they're pushing this forward um, to do a script, and it's supposed to be like a horror musical in the vein of Rocky Horror Picture Show. So apparently, they have some financing. And you know,
They've
uh,
also got Jonas Ackerlund, who directed one of my favorite music videos of all time, "Smack My Bitch Up" by damn it, what's the band who did that?
Was it
Fire.
Portishead?
No, it's
No.
the guys who did Firestarter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've got several of
I
their
know.
albums.
Oh my, why am I like blanking on this? I used to, yes, I totally know exactly what you're talking about.
Are we gonna Google it?
We're gonna have to. Prodigy.
Prodigy. There it is.
Prodigy.
Yeah, we're almost in the right way with in the right
I had
direction.
a P.
Portishead.
I had a
Yeah.
P. I had a P. Yeah, that's what happens. Um, but in any case, I mean, I think he has like he might have the sensibility to pull this off. It could be pretty good. I didn't actually read the graphic novel. Did you?
Negative.
All right. But this could be kind of interesting. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, maybe he'll get Annie Lennox to be. I doubt it, since I don't know that that was a great uh, breakup in terms of the music group and everything else. But still, it could be interesting. Um, so yeah, so there's that coming to Broadway, and I'll keep you posted on that.
Yes, definitely keep me posted.
I may have to go and see this.
It's not going to Broadway though. It's going to be in the movie. Isn't it just going to be in the theaters
Yeah, but I would imagine, based upon what I know, is that this could most likely end up as a Broadway show. Just
or
saying.
a very limited release, perhaps?
Yes, yes, but I absolutely see that happening.
Speaking of limited releases, have you managed to see Life After Beth yet?
I have not. I've been unfortunately a little too crazed with the day job. So that has taken a back seat. I think I can still see it, so I'm going to still try. But I also, part of what I haven't seen a lot of really good reviews, and in fact, everything I've seen has been kind of mediocre. So, when you're shelling out like $15 to go see a film,
Yeah.
you don't want to kind of go into it thinking it's going to be semi crappy. So, or at least I don't.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I haven't even looked to see if it's become more available around me, but it's still an option. However, moving on down the road, um, uh, which, by the way, have you ever seen The Wiz?
Yes, of course.
Of course, of course. A child of the '80s.
Nobody beats the Wiz.
It's great. This zombie safe zone map was. How did you stumble on this?
A friend of mine in Canada sent me the article on the project, because it was I think it was created out of Toronto. So it's a Toronto-based art studio, and so they released all these different maps. There's at least 40 of them, and it details zombie safe zones for all the major cities. Um, I don't. It's a little weird, but it's not.
It's not very comprehensive.
No. I mean, basically, it's
It's
kind
a
of like,
design project. It's not
yeah,
a.
it's
It's
a
yeah.
design project. I thought it was. It could. I guess that the thing that struck me about it is that it could have been a lot more interesting, and it wasn't. Like, just pretty much for like, okay, there's a park there. That'll be a safe zone,
And that's
right?
it's the same park for every state. Like you
Right.
have multiple maps for California. You've got San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and they all have to go to Shasta,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is like for people in
Uh.
LA, I think that's like a 12-hour drive.
Well, and also, wouldn't it be problematic if everybody was going to the one little
This is
tiny safe
also
zone?
yes, yes.
So I was thinking about many different ways this project could have been made better. Um, and yeah, although an interesting idea. So, but maybe
It is an
somebody else
interesting
should
idea.
make it.
And
Maybe somebody else should make it better.
if you had put a series of these up on your wall, it would still be interesting because the design motif is
It is cool.
it's attractive.
I
It's
like it.
the spare infographic. It's not like bludgeoning you over the head. And I like the fact that at the destination, um, from the city to the national, it's ever always in a national park or something where the refuge is. It says like if there's fish there, and there's a couple of little icons that show you kind of like what the upside is of getting there.
Right. Um, and I like, there was like one comment on this article is sort of like, yeah, a safe zone is where no other people that are alive are around. So a safe zone to where everybody is evacuated to is like the worst place you could ever go. So I think other people kind of thought the same thing that we did.
I think, well, this is the article that we're going to be putting in our show notes is from the Houston Chronicle. So I feel like this is a very Texan sort of
Right.
response.
Perhaps. But still, in other state, I don't. There's been a lot of like state zombie pride lately. Have you noticed this? It's a little strange. Um, so this is an article that popped up, and it's the Kansas governor Sam Brownback basically has declared October as Zombie Preparedness Month, and he did this in like a public news conference.
Yeah.
And it's the usual thing that we've seen with the CDC and other things, people trying to get people to think about emergency preparedness and throwing zombies in. It is interesting that he decided to do a public announcement for it, but okay.
The like craziest part about this story is that they're essentially saying in Kansas, zombies are less scary than tornadoes.
Right. I think tornadoes are really freaking scary
I think
myself.
that that is what the governor of Kansas is essentially saying by doing this press conference. He's like, yeah, so this is like a funny thing we can do because The Walking Dead is literally not as scary as what we have to deal with every, tornado season.
Wow, lots of Wizard of Oz references today. Hey. Um, and then, and at the end of this, they actually have a disaster on the go pack that they were giving out to people. So it's like free to the first 300 survivors. So I don't know. It was interesting. I don't know about you, but I used to like Wizard of Oz. Part of the scariest part of the Wizard of Oz, other than the witch, was the idea of a tornado like swooping people up. I used to have like nightmares about that.
That is terrifying. I always just found the desolation of Oz. Not that it's just very desolate. Like all these empty roads and flying freaking monkeys and fields full of poppies. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little creepy.
It's just a weird place.
Yeah, well, it is Oz, but in any case, and as an adult, I find tornadoes no less terrifying. So, you know, kudos to the governor for trying to get people to prepare for such things. And on to our news item that neither of us have watched for very specific reasons.
So
But
what is this news organization? What's Hillel's? Is it
I really have no idea. This particular story popped up in a couple of places, so I just grabbed the one that was sort of at the top of the list. Um, so I don't really know what Hillel's is, but perhaps somebody else can
it
tell me.
doesn't seem like a native English speaking organization.
Right.
But every time
But
I open it, it also plays videos with audio on, so I can't even open this link up. It's kind of annoying.
oh, mine doesn't do that, but who knows?
Curious.
Curiouser and curiouser. But in any case, they they put up more. I think that these are different trailers. It's not clear to me that these are the same trailers or not, but the article was a lot of spoilers, so heads up folks, if you don't want to have spoilers for season 5, don't read it. And I kind of wished I hadn't after I saw it. um and I just didn't, based on the spoilers that to me were just throughout the last trailer that we saw released, I chose not to watch anything within this because I'm looking forward to the premiere. I don't want it messed up. And I think you felt the same. And we both discovered this as we were discussing this.
Yeah, when we started this call this morning, we both realized that it's what's funny about this to me, AJ, is that you and I were both we were both disappointed by the 2 second teaser trailer that came out a few months ago.
Hmm.
We are like, gosh, where's the good stuff? And then a
And then they
real
gave
trailer
it to
comes
us.
out, and then we're like, oh my god, that's way too much information. We
We have
have
to
to
stop.
stop all communications with the Walking Dead season 5. And so this article, which is talking about I guess there's been another longer trailer that's come out, and this article basically goes through and kind of like figures out all of the plot twists based on these two trailers, or at least what they think they are. And I don't really want to know, so I'm
Yeah.
holding out.
Yeah. So I think we put a massive spoiler alert on our site when we put this up in the show notes.
Well, this entire episode today is spoilerific because we're also going to be spoiling the hell out of a show that's still on the air.
Yeah, but we're being clear about that. So spoiler, spoiler, spoiler. There you go. That's my version of a spoiler alert.
I feel like everybody knows yeah, okay, we're good.
Anyway, and we're good. We're good. So what We are talking about ZNation, and we watched the first couple of episodes. I think they're now in episode 4, actually. Um,
I think 3 just came out yesterday.
did
Or
3 just come out? Okay,
yeah.
sorry. And so we decided we were going to watch this and just sort of give our first impressions. Um, so yeah, there's going to be a lot of spoilers involved.
Oh yeah.
I made Bill watch this with me, and I'll tell you his impressions later. But
Uh, um. So yeah, the first 2 episodes are called Puppies and Kittens and Fracking Zombies, which is number 2, and they're both directed by
yeah,
John Hyams, and
yep.
then written by the first one was written by Carl Schaefer, and the second by Michael Cassett. And it looks like they pulled in 1.58 and 1.62 million households or viewers, respectively,
Mm.
according to the Wikipedias. I don't know by modern standards if those are good numbers or not. I think they're actually not bad.
They're not bad. Um, and yeah, hmm, I don't even know how to launch into this necessarily.
I think the show opens with it's got a cold open with Harold Perrineau Jr. and a guy called Valdez running around and shooting at zombies that are moving quite quickly. These
Hmm.
are fast zombies at the beginning of the show, and I think it's the zombie apocalypse is well underway. I think it's been going on for 2 years, maybe, in the very beginning
I
of the
think they
show.
said 3 years, so yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure if 3 years was where the show like. There's a bit of a jump in the timeline.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure either, but either way, it's been
It's hard
going
to
on a
say.
while. So they've kind of skipped over the whole how it all started
Yeah.
piece.
In the same way that The Walking Dead kind of does, except they only do it by 30 days or so. These guys have done it
By
by a
years.
larger chunk. Um, and I don't really want to talk about all the plot twists or everything, but so cast wise, we've got Harold Perrineau Jr. as this military commander. I want to say he's great, and he's good, but he does deliver at least one line that made me laugh out. I had a couple of laugh out loud moments.
There were a couple of laugh out loud moments, but there weren't enough. And then there's also DJ Qualls, who plays this. He's basically stationed, what it looks like in the North Pole, because he's at the Northern Lights station, and he's helping people navigate things and sending out different orders from his Fortress of Solitude. And then there is, so those are the only two in the beginning, other than Murphy,
Yeah,
who
and
is a prisoner.
who's played by Keith Allen, and yeah, he's like a convict undergoing involuntary drug trials. They're trying to find the cure for the zombie plague, and he gets injected with an experimental serum, and then almost immediately gets eaten, like attacked, not eaten, but attacked by several zombies.
Right. So this
And
is the sort of the first section of the cast, and then it actually springs forward to a different point in the timeline. It goes forward like a little while, right?
I'm not sure. I feel like it was a year because there are definitely
Yeah.
references to I haven't seen another human being in a year in episode 2.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
And then we see the other section of the cast, which is Tom Everett Scott, who you may remember from That Thing You Do and American Werewolf in Paris.
he has such a recognizable face, but then when I
He
looked at his
he has nothing.
filmography, it was like, what? I don't even know why I know your face.
I
He,
think
he
it's
he's got a very trustworthy face, which I'm pretty sure why he is basically going to be the heart and soul of this show going forward.
right. Right. So there's him. You've got uh,
Kalita Smith is
yes.
basically she's the Zoe to his Mal, as it were.
Yep, definitely. And then there's this other group of survivors running around out there too.
Yeah, there's
Um,
the doc guy who's like a meth head,
yep.
a folksy wisdom meth head,
Hmm.
and then 2 teenagers, a guy and a girl,
Hmm.
who we don't really know anything about even after the second episode, other than they don't
Right.
trust people.
Right.
And then there's a
Um,
couple of other stragglers that they pick up also into their little crew.
yeah, you don't want to forget Nat Zane, who plays 10K, because that's the number of zombies he's killed.
He calls himself 10,000, right?
Yeah, but I'm calling him 10K, and so
10,
does Wikipedia, so that's what I'm going with.
fair enough. And then Pise Pal, who plays Cassandra, aka Sunshine, but she doesn't want to be called Sunshine. Don't call her Sunshine.
Don't call her Sunshine. Dangerous.
She represents another one of the storylines that is probably going to make up this first season between this ragtag gang of people trying to get Murphy to California. They're in New York and they're trying to get to California.
Yeah, and and this is the big spoiler, is that so Murphy, because he was part of this experimental vaccine program to try to find a cure for the zombie virus, he actually was the one that was successful. So the whole idea is that they need to get him to California to I guess manufacture the cure for other people. There's a lab there.
He's basically going to get experimented on like a motherfucker. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you can imagine that he's super excited about all of this, and especially since part of how they figured out that he was immune is that he had been getting attacked by multiple zombies. So he like has bites all over his body and stuff.
Let's take a moment to discuss the makeup because the makeup of his torso is really disgusting and well done.
The makeup of his torso is awesome, but makeup other places is lacking. So it's interesting what they chose to do. The makeup of his torso I thought was like, wow, impressive that you guys pulled this off, because this could easily have looked terrible.
Yeah.
Um, and but there's other points where you see the zombies walking around where it's just they're definitely, to me, they're just like, okay, this is going to be really fast. And in some ways I thought, okay, we're going to have fast zombies and have them blurry so we don't have to do that much makeup on them. And it's a sci-fi show, so you kind of expect that to some extent, but it's sort of like it is a little weird that it's inconsistent,
I
you know.
felt like I think it's consistent enough that
Eh,
it's definitely not like Greg Nicotero level, but the zombies are when they want them to be scary and not funny. The
then
zombies are
they are.
scary. Yeah.
No, that's true. That's true. But just that comment leads me to another point, is that I really felt like while watching the show that the writers couldn't quite decide what they were going for. Are they going for a serious show, or are they going for something that's a little bit more sticky, a little bit more Shaun of the Dead? Because every once in a while there were some really amazing lines that were hilarious and you'd laugh out loud, but it wasn't delivered, and it wasn't enough of the writing that is there. Like, it felt to me like they couldn't decide whether they wanted to be campy or serious. And maybe it's a little Sharknado-esque, which would make sense given
I
the
I
fact that
mm.
these are the people that gave us, you know, that particular film.
I
But
think if you compare this to Sharknado, it's like 100 times better than Sharknado because
no, of
it's
course it
actually
is.
like it's actually the acting, the quality of the acting is good. The script is a little bit Sharknado-y at times, which is when those laugh out loud moments happen. I feel like, except even in Sharknado, nothing was really written that way. It was written very badly on purpose.
Right.
And this, I guess,
Eh,
what those funny lines are that way, but they're just delivered in a way that is better than Sharknado ever could have.
I guess I just still didn't think it was as successful as it probably could have been, especially given the cast that they have to work with. So I feel like the writing was deficient in some points. And it kind of brought me back to thinking about the Zombieland pilot that we saw, which I didn't think was great, but I thought was better than some of this.
Yeah, I would agree, and it's a similar sort of genre, except it's the black comedy with zombies,
Right.
basically, which is
Um,
what this is gonna end up being, unless they don't really can't make their mind up and end up being something else,
right.
because the Sunshine storyline, which is some sort of weird cult thing, appears to be a very serious storyline about like human trafficking, and we're not sure what else they might be doing. But there's like very little funny upside to that storyline, from what I can tell.
Oh, my guess is she's been experimented on too, and she probably also holds the cure to some extent. That's my guess.
You heard it here first, folks. H.A.
Um,
Conrad's.
but there's a couple other things. While I was watching this show, I couldn't help but think of you during the very very long strange zombie sequence of events.
Yeah.
So I would like to hear your impressions about that.
Okay, well, so number one, they used a real live human baby that had a terrifying set of choppers. That baby had a lot of teeth.
He did. He did.
And that was when he was in the script still a living human baby. And I was like, okay, well, I kind of know that this baby is going to turn into a zombie baby at some point because they basically spoiled that in their own trailer. Um, but I felt like it was not as bad as I was fearing. I thought the zombie baby section, if you will, was actually kind of like pretty funny, and it does lead to the departure of the one cast member I was super excited about to be in this show.
That was also why I wanted to hear your impressions because I was like, really? And so part of me is wondering, I mean, maybe he's out forever, but is there any room for him to possibly come back,
No, he's
you
done,
think?
dude. He was
Okay.
totally eviscerated. I mean, I granted
I
I
know.
don't think they shot him in the head when they were.
I just, part of me was like, well, he's hanging out with the guy that has the cure. Maybe they're gonna play that card, but I guess not. He's also, by the way, in Constantine, which which is another series that is out this fall.
Well, yeah, busy
So
guy.
maybe maybe he was like, okay, I just want to be in Constantine and not ZNation. It's all good. But yeah. So there was that whole scene, and
So in that scene, Harold Perrineau delivers the line,
God, I hate moral dilemmas.
"I hate moral dilemmas,"
I know.
which made me laugh out loud because I was just like, are they just writing insane things for him to say? And he
Yeah.
delivered it in this way that was super funny. I forget even what the moral dilemma was. It had to do with the baby, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, whether to leave it to
Yeah.
be like just a zombie baby, which,
Yes.
or whether to take it out. What's really interesting and kind of funny about that is that he had the moral dilemma at the beginning of the show because he had left the Murphy, the prisoner, to be eaten by the zombies, and then apparently went back and saved him.
Aha. So
So
yes,
there you go.
there's the
Uh,
answer. It doesn't go well for him.
I will tell you, like that whole scene drove me a little bit crazy because it's like, okay, he survived this long. Clearly, he knows what's going on. Like the way he was even scoping out that space was super strange, and like obviously he was going to get eaten because he wasn't paying attention to anything.
This scene
So
was almost a complete ripoff too of the scene from Aliens when Sigourney Weaver
yes,
and Newt are trapped in the medical lab
yes,
with two
absolutely.
face huggers. It was they were definitely channeling a lot of that in this scene, which makes
Um,
it scary, frankly.
they were also channeling a little bit of Jurassic Park because these zombies apparently sound like velociraptors when they move around. So it's like the kitchen scene where they're all trying to get the kids.
Hmm.
So two things, which I think that Jurassic Park was also channeling Alien. So a lot of
Perhaps.
a lot of references here, but yeah, that sound effect of the zombies was really strange. And also, it's during the course of the show, we also find out that part of the mythology or part of the way this virus works is that you only get fast zombies initially. Like when they're first turned, they're the fastest, and apparently insanely fast when it comes to like this weird zombie baby thing.
Yeah, it
And
was
then they
bizarre.
slow down, as they kind of go along in their death line.
Certainly
But
by the second episode, they are as slow as possible. Yeah.
right, so this show is basically combining fast and slow zombies for your pleasure.
Then the second line that made me laugh out loud that was is delivered basically right after Harold Perrineau exits stage right, and
I know
it's
what you're gonna say. Go
delivered by
for it.
Tom Everett Scott.
None of this would have happened if you just left that damn baby. I didn't tell him and go get eaten by a baby.
I know. Yeah.
Delivered so seriously,
Yep.
and yet so funny.
Yep. There were some, and there was another line in there that is delivered by Kalita Smith's character Roberta, and she says there's this point where they're like, well, we've been in touch with the team that's supposed to help bring him out to California, and she's like, oh, how long ago? And he's like, a month, and she's like, a month? That's like 2 years in apocalypse time, or
Yeah,
something like that,
that
which I
was
thought was
actually a
pretty
very,
funny.
and that was I think delivered in the spirit it was intended. Like the other two, you're not sure if serious, but
Right, but
that
this
one,
was
A Year in
So
Apocalypse Time was definitely that was really good.
yeah, so that was kind of cool. So there were definitely moments in this. I was kind of like part of because to me, it felt like there was a lot of indecision about what this show should be. It wasn't as enjoyable as I would like it to have been. And also because I did force Bill to watch this with me, he was complaining the entire time we were watching this.
Oh dear.
So, and at the end of the second episode, was said, "I don't have to watch any more of these with you, do I?"
Oh,
and that I owe him one for making him watch these. So, so if I am to watch the show, it will have to be solo once again, same as Walking Dead.
I feel like you should have learned this lesson by now.
I know, but you know what? I just, I'm a limited amount of time. So unless I'm during my life, especially of late, so
Yeah.
he's gonna have to suck it up and watch some zombie shows with me.
Second episode was weaker than the pilot, which might, in my opinion. I don't know. Was there anything like notable or enjoyable about the second episode for you?
No, I mean I think that they were just trying to set up they're basically the first two episodes. I feel like they're setting up the cast, they're setting up the relationships, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're setting up the storylines, and it's a lot to cram in to two episodes. I will say that the plot point in the second episode about getting the fuel truck and it ends up all being for naught
Yeah,
was
that's
so
annoying.
freaking annoying to me. And
Yeah.
I know that they meant it to be funny and that was part of it, but I just was like, I can't believe we spent most of this episode dealing with this and then you didn't do anything with it and it ends up just being stupid.
And then 10,000 runs up with 2 gas cans, and he's like, "I found these." Oh, that's way too freaking convenient.
Also, there are only 2 gas cans. How far do you think you're going to get with that? Give me a break.
Yeah, and they're driving a deuce and a half or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, or they're driving like giant Suburbans, which are probably like getting 15 miles to the gallon.
Right. So it's just annoying generally, but that's okay.
However, no amount of general plot annoyingness could match, in my mind, the annoyingness that is DJ Qualls in this show.
I knew you were going to be upset about DJ Qualls because he is super annoying.
I've read some reviews that say he's the best thing about this show, like that he's bringing the most acting chops. And
are you kidding me? Like he always plays this character though, right?
he's
like
playing basically the same
himself.
Yeah,
like he always does this.
Well, yeah, it's very earnest. I feel like I'm definitely living what DJ Qualls' experience of a zombie apocalypse would be like, kind of.
Yeah.
Well, but
I was actually hoping they would reference some of the other movies he was in. I don't know if you ever saw the movie The Core, and he's actually pretty good in that. But he asks for an unlimited supply of Hot Pockets and Xena DVDs or tapes or something like that. And I'm like, oh, come on, just do that. And he didn't. But he pretty much just plays himself. So.
And he is once again essentially just a hacker, even though at the beginning of the show it appears that he's a radio operator, and then he turns into like a radio operator in the military, and then he kind of morphs and he self-describes himself as the NSA, like the only guy left in the NSA, and now he's a hacker.
Mm-hmm.
And his role in this show is going to be annoying, I can already tell. And his story arc in the second episode, where he fights a zombie dog and makes friends with another dog, is just filler.
Yeah.
It's
filler. It's also to set him up for having a friend, I guess. It's a little much. Like I could have. That's another scene that took forever. So it's a scene with the fuel truck and the scene with the zombie dog.
Yep.
Just like, come on. I don't know. Just not my thing, I guess.
No, I'm still gonna watch this show. I don't care. I'm like enjoying it enough that I'm looking forward to watching episode 3. But though there are definitely some things that I'm not psyched about.
Yeah, I guess part of while I was watching it, I was like, oh, you could have done this so much better, and that's sort of what I was, kind of lamenting during the show. But again, this is early days yet. We're only 2 episodes in, so I'll probably finish watching this just to see what happens. If it gets super silly, maybe they'll find their sea legs and they'll be fine. So, I'm willing to give them that shot. There was enough promising stuff for me to want to at least see what they decide the show is going to be. But there may be a point where I'm not going to be wanting to continue watching. I haven't reached that point yet.
Well, it seems like a lot of the reviews are kind of roundly panning the show, at least from major media outlets. But when you go down into like Den of Geek is giving it 2 star. Well, for the fracking zombies episode, it gave it 2 stars out of 5. But is also saying this is a show. It's a great show, and it's a zombie show that's more about zombies than it is about feelings, which is what they're saying.
Well, right. I
Is
mean, they're saying that it's basically, just a little bit, and it's definitely less serious. I mean, it's certainly a reaction against The Walking Dead, I would say.
yeah. And then also the AV Club gave it a B rating, which honestly, yeah, it's probably what it deserves. B minus or a C plus at this point. But I think a lot of the more niche media people who are like looking at this show kind of in the same lens as we are consider it to be doing a necessary job in the landscape in a way. Assuming that they find their message and that they kind of, figure out what they want to be a little better. But
Right. And I mean, I think that they have a lot of potential with this cast, so we will see. Um, I think that there's that potential, and hopefully they will take advantage of it.
yeah, we're probably not going to talk much more about this show unless something insane happens,
I
right?
don't know if something happens to DJ Qualls, I think you're going to want to talk about
I think we'll just have a celebration.
it with some hot pockets.
So I
Yeah.
guess we that's about all we had to say about the all of the Z Nation, or we might come back and revisit it, but at least for the first 2 episodes, that's our review. And join us one and all next time when we get together to start talking about The Strain, first of a
Yes.
series of podcasts about the TV show, the book. We're not really sure yet. It'll come together, just like Z Nation, maybe over time.
Or like an A-team plan.
Exactly. We'll be smoking cigars by the end of it, no doubt.
Indeed.
So thanks for listening, everybody. Hit us up on the tweets at Reanimated PCast or email us at reanimatedpodcast@gmail.com. You can check out our show notes at reanimatedpodcast.com. And you can leave us a review on the iTunes if you so desire, and we would be eternally grateful.
Yes, indeed. So until next time.
Adios.
Ciao.
Goodbye. Stop talking at the same time as me. Goodbye.
Okay.